Hello, this is Jamie Magrich. Welcome to Jamie's Craft Table. Today I'd like to show you how I made this card. The materials I'm using, I have a scrap of black. I have a piece of Whisper White, which is 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. I have a piece of black, which is 4 by 5 1/4. I have a piece of Flirty Flamingo, which is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And I have my card base, which is thick, which is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored and folded at 4 1/4. I'm going to be using Wildly Happy. I'm going to be using this little bunnies. I was thinking of Easter. And then the sentiment and the flowers are coming from Bloom and Grow. I'm going to be using this flower and this sentiment. They are 70% on this cover. They're much larger. Okay. I'm going to be using Gray Granite ink, Tuxedo Black ink, and for the little hearts I'm using the Dog Builder punch. So let me go ahead and punch those little hearts and get that step out of the way. I'm just going to bring it into the side here and punch 3 little black hearts. And they're just black because they popped. They went with my sentiment that was black in the layers. You could do them with the Flirty Flamingo. That would be pretty as well. Okay, so let me put those aside. Let me bring in my layer that we're going to stamp on. And I need a piece of Post-it. Did I save that? I don't know if I did. I thought I did, but it's not in there, so I'll have to do. Oh, here it is. A Post-it note. I stamped on it, and I just cut out part of it so that I could make a mask. So I'm going to start by bringing in the flower and the Gray Granite ink. Oh, and I'm also going to be using some blends to color in the flowers. You could use whatever coloring medium you want. For this one, I just wanted quick, so I'm using the blends. Okay, so I'm inking this up with my Gray Granite. There's a curve in the stamp. I want that to go up. So I'm stamping it over here at this end. Kind of centered on the front of this card, but a little bit more towards the left side. And I'm about 1 inch from the bottom. I'll leave a little bit of room for my sentiment, but not too much. Okay, and then I would take this and my Post-it note on the sticky side. I would just stamp this. Okay, and then I'm going to cut this. I just need this section here cut out. So then I just took my scissors I'm not going to worry about those berries because I don't need them. I just need this area here. So I just cut it out just inside the line so there wouldn't be any shadowing or haloing when I do my other stamping. I do need this leaf. Just a little bit more here. Around here. Okay. And since I just cut that, I might as well use it. So I'm going to set that on top of here. Mask off that area a little bit. Then I'm going to bring in my bunnies. I'm going to ink those with the same Gray Granite ink. I want to stamp them in this section here, so they're kind of nestled in these flowers. So over in here. Just stamp them down. Perfect. Okay, so it looks like they're kind of hiding in those flowers. I probably could have gone down just a little bit more. Like I did on this one, you can't see their feet. It's alright, that'll work. Okay, then I'm going to color those flowers in. I'm going to go ahead and stamp my sentiments oh, actually, I think I'm going to wait because I'm afraid if I stamp it now, I might blur it a little bit with the coloring. It probably won't because it's Stampin' Blends, but you never know. Okay, so the colors I have, Flirty Flamingo and Daffodil Delight for the flower, Granny Apple Green for the leaves. For the little berries, I have the Purple Posy, and then I have the Pool Party and a color lifter to do the background. Okay, so let's start with the flowers. I'm going to go ahead and do the centers first. I'm going to take the darker of the daffodil, and I'm going to just do a little C-shaped color there. Let me do them all and then I'll show you what I mean. See how I only did it like a C shape on the one side? Okay. And I'm going to come in with the light color, and I'm going to fill in the rest of the center. And it'll blend that a little bit, but it'll give it just a little bit of shading there. Okay. That's all there is for the yellow. Now with the Flirty Flamingo, I'm going to come in and I'm going to do a little bit of dark in any of these areas where the petals would be overlapping or where they be touching the center here. A little bit of dark. You want to use the smaller end so you have better control and you want to take your time. That's great. I'm just adding a little bit of the dark color and then the base of the petals and then where these petals are overlapping with each other. It's probably better if you just do one or two at a time. I'm just going to go through and do the whole thing at once. Okay, then I'm going to come in with the light and I'm going to blend right over what I've already done. Just color in the rest of those petals. And I'm going to go right over the top of the dark. Let it blend in a little bit. The reason I recommend doing smaller areas is you don't want this to dry completely. You get a better blend. But you don't want to oversaturate your paper either, because then it will bleed out of the lines. So if you want to go back and do another coat or another layer, I recommend then letting the first one dry and going back. Sorry about the squeaking. I'm going to go in with the finer tip on the dark one. I'm just going to add just a couple little spots of this darker color in a couple areas so that it's just the tiniest little bit of darker shading. This isn't necessary. You can color them all one color if you want. That would be pretty too. I've always been one to do shading. I even used to with my crayons when I was a kid. Okay, so we're done with the pink. Now let's do the purple and get those out of the way. So I took the dark one, and these are such tiny things. I did use the tiny end of my And I did that little C mark. Some of them just filled in completely with it. Go outside the lines a little bit, it's fine, because I'm going to do an outline around the edge and it'll hide any coloring imperfections. See, again, I don't know if you can see it. I just went outside, I just did that little C again. Now I'm going to go in with the light and fill in the rest of it. Okay, now we'll do the green. And I just went in with the tiny end, and I did a little bit of green at the base, just a little bit. I didn't do a whole lot of dark green. A little bit, not much at all really. And then I came in with the light green, colored over what I already did. Do I get them backwards? No. This one looks darker for some reason. I must have used a darker one more often. Color them in. I usually use the brush tip over the bullet tip, but this is such small little areas. I have better control with the bullet tip, especially when I'm in a hurry coloring. I didn't color the bunnies at all. I left them uncolored. Oh, there's one leaf here, so let me just color it with this one. Okay. Now I went in with the balmy blue. And this is the light balmy blue, and I just went around, all the way around the edge. I thought I turned that off. I tried to. Figure out something else. Alright, do all around the edges. And be careful when you get to the rabbits that you don't color over the top of the rabbits with the blue. Ask me how I know this. Almost. This blue just adds a little bit of something. There's a little space there, so. Alright. We're almost done. I'm sorry this is taking so long. It's one of those things you almost have to do. You don't want it to sit too long or it'll be hard to do the next part, so. A little bit more here. Okay, now you see how there's a harsh edge here? I don't like that, so I have two choices. I can go in with the lighter, do this part with the darker one and then go in with the lighter one, but I chose to use the lighter one. So I'm going to come in with my color lifter, and I'm going to go up to the edge of it and just color around the whole entire piece. And it will blend off that harsh edge. You don't want to go all the way to the where you've colored, but you want to go over that edge a little bit. And the more you color over it, the more it'll blend. I have another one that's a little bit fresher. That one's a little dry. Let's get the new one. It's much better. Go around a little bit and then I'll show you what it's doing. Hate that squeaky sound, but it's one of those things. Scrubbing the paper a little bit just happens to do that. A little bit more here. This is my most common use for this color lifter. Blend out the edges. Okay, and I'm not sure if you can see, but like in this area where it started to dry, it pulls that color out a little bit and it feathers that edge so you don't get that hard edge. Okay. Now I'm going to come in with my sentiment and the Memento ink. I'm going to ink it up. And I'm going to take just a second and let this dry. I'll be right back. Okay, that didn't take long. I just didn't want my black ink to bleed, and I probably wouldn't because it's a, but I didn't want to take a chance. So, okay, ink it up well. I'm going to stamp the sentiment down here at the bottom. It's going to overlap those flowers just a little bit, and it's towards the right orientation. Perfect. Okay. Now we can put our card together. And one thing I did forget to mention, I'm going to be using some of this ribbon that is from the new Ornate Garden suite that's going to be available in the new catalog. So let's get started here. Let's get our glue on the back of our colored piece. Then I'm going to mount it onto the black, and there's just a 1/8 of an inch difference between each layer. It's very little difference. Mount this onto the Flirty Flamingo. Center up the 3 sides. Set it down. Bring in the card base. Oh, no, I did. Okay. Okay, I'm going to bring in those little hearts. And I just Put a little bit of glue. I'm using it like sequins. One down here. And then I brought in the ribbon. It's the only part I have trouble with. I have a hard time tying bows onto cards. Oops, see what I mean? I don't like to take it off the spool because I don't want to waste any ribbon. Well, let me try this different. Turn it over. Loop this side. Only the one in your left hand. Well, that's a little better. It's still too loose, but I'm going to clip it so you can get the general idea. And then I'll fuss with the bow afterwards. And there's the one we just made together. Here's the one I did previously. There you go. Well, thank you for joining me at Jamie's Craft Table. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I hope you can find a little bit of time to play with some stamps, ink, and paper.